Why are people going back to Chili's all of a sudden? I don't get it.
In a segment that is seeing declining traffic and flat sales is a tremendous accomplishment. And I think it speaks to how much what they did really resonates with today's consumer.
That brand slowly lost its way, often pursuing things that were outside the brand parameters, extending the menu too far, for example.
That sizzling skillet at Chili's? It might just be a trick. Former staff admit the cast iron is sprayed with water or oil to fake the steam, while your food has been reheated or even shipped frozen weeks earlier. The ads promise fire and freshness, but the reality sounds more like a supply depot running on logistics, not a kitchen serving you in real time. So when you hear that crackle, the battlefield question is simple: are you hearing real heat, or staged theatrics masking a frozen dinner?
It would make our lives difficult on a Friday, Saturday night when we're really busy and each zone in the kitchen is trying to pump out food as fast as possible and try to make a quality dish. And sometimes that quality suffered. We weren't always the top of the tier. And over the last 2 years, we've just seen such a turnaround. From the support we get from, our bosses.
And even the 3 years preceding COVID, the profitability of the business had gotten worse, partly because they were pursuing off-premise businesses. Ultimately, they took the money out of the advertising.
Let's find out why that matters. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. That plate of ribs landing at your table looks hot, ready, and fire-kissed. But the truth is sharper. Much of it was frozen weeks before, sealed in plastic, and stored in pallets like ammunition waiting for redistribution. You think you're getting frontline cooking, but you're eating the product of a supply chain designed to move volume, not to defend quality. The illusion of a kitchen fades the moment you realize the fire in front of you is cosmetic, a quick spray of water across metal to mimic authentic heat. Large chains like Chili's, Popeyes, and IHOP don't operate like restaurants in the classic sense. They run more like enclosed depots, where bulk product is received, divided, and shipped through service lines.
A lot of players in casual dining, and Chili's was one of them, forgot about why do people go out, and if we don't deliver on that, why will we expect our business to grow?
Now to Red Lobster, it has officially filed for bankruptcy.
TGI Fridays filed for bankruptcy.
Hooters is the latest casual restaurant chain to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
What were top changes you made there, and what was the payoff?
One of the ideas actually came from our culinary team. We had our executive leadership team having a meeting.
Each tray of pre-sauced ribs or bag of boiled noodles is another crate arriving at a forward base, labeled and standardized. There is no chef making decisions, only a system enforcing steps. Preheat, thaw, assemble, reheat. The mindset is industrial, not culinary. The tension arrives when you contrast this cold process with the warm promises in their ads. The commercials paint a picture of searing grills, golden syrup poured from glass, and pasta crafted in pans right before you dip a fork. Yet those ribs have lived months on ice, packed at distant plants, cooked in batches, and then sent downrange in cardboard cases before someone reheats them in your town. The Sizzle Force show is a stage trick. The syrup at IHOP is engineered corn sugar dyed brown, not tapped from any tree in Vermont, and you might watch it sit out for hours, tacky under lamps and handled by dozens of hands. When you sit down and order pasta, notice this: the noodles are rarely dropped into fresh boiling water. They came in plastic, batch cooked elsewhere, then reheated in hot water baths or microwaved in sealed pouches.
The past couple years have been challenging for the restaurant industry, especially the full-service dining sector. In 2024, Texas Roadhouse became the biggest casual dining restaurant, surpassing Olive Garden, who held the top spot since 2018. Between 2019 and 2024, the two companies' sales are up over 55% and over 80%.
That method is fast, yes, but it has stripped the field of choice. Efficiency becomes the commanding officer. Once logistics becomes the weapon, flavor and integrity retreat to the backlands. Even a burger patty that screams grilled is usually frozen, pulled from a mass stack, and cooked hard and fast with no real care, its uniform size signaling factory standardization rather than skill. But the field isn't just about illusion. It's about safety, the kind that can break down under stress. Reports, both from inspections and former staff, highlight staggeringly simple failures. A tray of raw chicken stored above unwrapped lettuce, juice ready to leak downward.
So what's driving consumers to these steakhouses? And what makes them a standout in the restaurant sector?
Value steakhouses exist in kind of the sweet spot where it's tough to replicate the experience. I think that's why you've seen Roadhouse and Longhorn deliver trends that are, above what the industry's seeing.
Texas Roadhouse and Longhorn Steakhouse parent company Darden Restaurants have significantly outperformed the S&P over the past 5 years. Darden Restaurants owns a number of chains besides Longhorn.
The same gloves used to place frozen nuggets in oil, also grabbing shredded lettuce for wraps, never changed. Those aren't mistakes, they are shortcuts built into the tempo of service. And when tempo rules, safety becomes collateral damage. Think of it as a supply line under strain. When officers demand speed over discipline, soldiers cut corners, and the whole unit suffers. In kitchens pressed by endless orders, that same corner cutting puts foreign bacteria into contact with food that never sees high heat again. Salads. Desserts. Syrups. The danger isn't theoretical, it's in the invisible pathogens waiting to exploit those gaps. The battlefield in front of you is about more than taste. It's about contamination slipping through the cracks.
We do expect Texas Roadhouse to deliver trends that are above the industry. 12 months, we have an equal weight rating on Darden and would expect the stock to perform kind of in line, but already trades at a higher valuation than the rest of the industry.
So when you sit at one of these tables, remember this tactical truth: the warmth you see is often an act, a simulation to reassure you in the moment. Behind the wall, the actual fight isn't cooking, it's distribution and reheating. What you call a restaurant kitchen is, in its design and practice, closer to a checkpoint, a warehouse node where boxes are opened, content staged, and plates assembled. The romance of craft dies there. What survives is cost control and consistency. And the stakes are clear. In war, faulty supply lines cause casualties. In this arena, lapses with storage, old oil, or half-clean tools create the same kind of vulnerabilities, except this time, you are the one exposed. The cost is measured in your health, not logistics figures. If this is how they handle the staging area, the deeper question is,